Hi everybody, this is Harmony and welcome to my channel, which is now called Cornerstone Stitchery. This is the first video under the new name, branded for my new cross-stitch design business, and I cannot believe that this moment is finally here. Thank you to everyone that has cheered me along through the process of maybe thinking about doing this and then the steps leading to this point. So here we are, Cornerstone Stitchery. We'll talk more about that later on, but we're going to do the normal things, talk about my crafting journey, which revolves around cross stitch and knitting and crochet if I feel like it. So let's go ahead and get started. First, we're going to do the knitting projects. I only have one this time, and it is a Musselburgh by Ysolda Teague. At this point, there's not much to show because I just started it the other day. I work on this, I will work on this on my lunch breaks, and then sometimes I'll bring it home over the weekends, one to show you all my progress, and then if I'm riding with my husband while he does his ministry for church, I will do that too. So here we are. This is where I've got started. I don't really like magic loop, but it's a means to an end. As soon as it gets big enough for me to transfer over to a 9-inch circular, I will do that. And then from there, once I finish all of the increases, I will put it onto a 12, I believe I do a 12-inch circular. If not, it's a 16. So this is Quirky sock yarn by the Simple Socks Yarn Company. And this is color QS 1106. They don't have names, they have numbers, but I thought this would be a fun color for spring and summer. So I'm working on this. Crochet projects. Mini Easter marshmallow bunnies. I have this whole bag full, and this is the green, yellow, and pink ones. But then I finished all of the ones that I needed to in purple. So this is Cascade Heritage. I do not believe that these have, let me see. This is the tag. I don't think that they have color names either. I think they're numbers. I got this from the little yarn shop at the SVRC Marketplace in Saginaw, Michigan. It's 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon, and I do not see a color number. It says color number 5733. I know on my receipt it said something about like Moody Mauve or Midnight Mauve or something or other, but I have all of the bunnies done. I finished that, I think, last week sometime, and now all I need to do is embroider the little faces and then stuff them and sew them together, which I actually crocheted with a single crochet. I crochet the edges together. To me, it gives it a cleaner look than just sewing them, but you could do it however you wanted, really. So there's that. I'm all finished with that part of it. The crochet is done. Now I just have to do the finishing. Oh, I did forget to tell you that our cross stitch retreat was last weekend, May 31st through June 2nd. It was just a very small, intimate retreat this go round. But while we were there, one of the stitchers brought out some crochet to get some work done on her crochet projects. And probably, I would assume, tell me if I'm wrong in the comments, that it was to get a break from the cross stitching too, to kind of break things up a little bit, because I do that as well. She brought out her 2024 temperature blanket, and we all gasped. It was so pretty, and the design features on it, it's overlay mosaic crochet, and I'm like, ooh, maybe I should do that for my 2019 blanket that I just really can't see myself making another 188 diamonds. It's been 5 years, and I did like 7 of them at the beginning of January, and then I'm just like, no, I can't do this. One reason for that is there's something wrong with the diamond pattern, and it was just really frustrating me. I found in my Google Drive that I rewrote the pattern, and I thought, well, maybe that will help. Here we are. It's June. I have made 0 diamonds since January. So I decided that I got the information from her. I decided I was going to switch and do this overlay mosaic crochet. So you just crochet though. There's single crochets and there's double crochets. That's it. And it can take me another 5 years and I'm not going to be frustrated with it because it's just crocheting. There's no decreases, there's no increases, it's just basic crocheting, and I don't have to make all these little shapes and then crochet them together. So anyway, I will show you what this blanket looks like so far. I finished 21 days. In 6 days, I crocheted 21 rows, not counting my base row, because I did do in white, I did the original chain, and then I crocheted across to make a good base to start my colors with. So this is, it was inside out. This is my temperature blanket so far. This is through January 21st. I'm not going to pressure myself to get this done anytime soon. I'm just, whenever I feel the urge to pick it up, which, like I said, this would actually, if the rows didn't take me like 20 to 25 minutes, this would be a good project for work. But I could take this with when I go with my husband somewhere, because most anywhere from the town that I live in to shopping or eating takes 20 to 25 minutes. I could get one row done on the way there and one row done on the way home. I just need to know what I'm doing for those rows. Oh, I didn't even show you the overlay mosaic. My goodness. Okay, so this is the end. And this is a free pattern, but I can't share it because she asked that you join the Facebook group where she shares her free patterns. I will put the Facebook group link in the description box below, so that way you could go find it if you want. And she does have it charted out for 2024, but I have to rechart mine for 2019. So I did that, and I hope that you can see this on camera. So this is the start of the 9 at the bottom. And then they go from the bottom right, kind of horizontal or diagonally up to the top left of the blanket. So this is the bottom right corner. And as you can see, the double crochets are, it looks like they're over top. Well, they are over top of one row, so that's why it's overlay. And then you just continue stitching the single crochets after you put in your doubles. And this yarn is a fingering weight. It's cone yarn that I got from one of the local shops here near me. There's nothing. There's no color numbers. There's no company, nothing. But I picked it specifically for this because I didn't need anything. And it equals to be about a fingering to a light fingering. Like the purple and the teal are a light fingering and the rest are all like a solid fingering weight. And I'm using a US size D as in dog hook. So, okay, so that's all of the crochet. So let's go into the cross stitch. The first thing that I stitched on was the Halloween Freebie by Charting Creations. This Ada, I will show you this side of the Ada. It's a mystery to me, this Ada. I don't have the tag. When I got it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to have that. And I thought a Halloween piece would go on here. And it does beautifully. I thought that it said when I got it that it was 18 count Ada, but I'm looking at this and it looks smaller than 22 count heart hanger. So, I mean, if it started off at 18 count, it shrunk a ton because these stitches are tiny. And I kept talking about it at the retreat that I was going to get a ruler and measure it, and I keep forgetting to do that. But I'll show you the full piece if I can. This is what the full piece of fabric looks like. Now we'll go in for a close-up of this actual stitching. What I did was I put a little bit into the back. I started here with the eye because that's where I was about finished the last time. And I would put a strand into the back, and then I would come over here and start on the letters of Halloween. Then I would go back to the back and go back to the letters. I got 615 stitches done on this at the retreat on Friday? I went on Thursday. I went early, and it was me and one other stitcher that were there early. It was lovely. I stayed there until about 12:15 because I was not staying over at the retreat center. I left the beds for other people in case they wanted to stay. So I came home because I'm very close. So I think I stitched I stitched a little bit of this on Thursday, and then I finished the 615. So I stitched 2 strands Thursday. It's all coming back to me now, people. I stitched 2 strands on Thursday night, and then I stitched 8 strands, excuse me, on Friday. So I think I made great progress. So then after I put in my total of 10 strands, I pulled out Stars and Stripes by the Prairie Schooler, because Prairie Schoolers are typically easy to stitch on. Typically. I don't know if it's a warship or what, but it says 17. I would assume that it's a warship of the time. So this is the Presidents, just to catch us up, because I don't know when the last time I showed this was. The Presidents. I'm leaving 2 columns of stitches in between each of the charts. Oh, floss is running away. I have all of the fabric cut already. I have floss and fabric everywhere in this one. I didn't know how much it was going to use, so I bought 2 skeins, I think, of everything, just to be on the safe side. And this one, look at, I must have been in a hurry to go on to other projects, because I have 2 needles with 2 strands of floss. So let's see. Let me see if I can sort this out. Oh, those were scraps too that I was saving. I do save my scraps if it's decent enough to fold in half and to get a couple of stitches out. I do save it, because I have found time after time after time that sometimes I will run out of floss with 2 stitches left, and those are perfect size. When I'm done with the project, I will throw those scraps away if they're small. If they're almost a whole strand, I will keep them. But anyways, you do whatever you want. Let me just secure. I had 2 needles with 2 strands and scraps. I was in a hurry. So I only had a little bit of one of the words, you know, these things on a ship. It'll come to me in the middle of the night when I'm trying to sleep what those are called. But in the meantime, you know what they're called. Follow along. So I finished going around with the border. I finished this corner of the border, and then I was working up here. As you can see, my strand is still, my floss is still attached. But I did put a lot of work into those things that I still cannot, I don't have the name. Comment below and tell me what I'm missing. Sales. There's sales. Oh my heavens sakes. But I only have like, which one? The big one. I had the big one, like 1 row up I had done. So all the rest of it I put in. This little tiny portion right here of the ship wasn't there, and I put that in. I put in a good amount, but I was hoping for more. But I started talking a lot. And at the last retreat I went to, I got lots and lots of stitches in, and this time I didn't. But I made progress on everything. So I do believe that that was a WIPCO that was called already. And so I am going to mark that one done. This one, I do believe, this is Into the Jungle by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. I do believe this also was called, and I'm going to mark it done as well. I didn't get a ton of stitches on it, but I was getting frustrated because I'm like, okay, I'm going to go down here and I'm going to do the sleeve. It's pretty good size. It's 75 to 80 stitches. If I do 3 of those, it's 240 stitches, right? If it's 80 stitches, 3 leaves, 240, that'll be great progress. I didn't have any of the floss. I thought that I fully kitted this project up. So it was really frustrating because I'm like, well, I'll go over here. Nope, don't have the floss. Well, I'll work over here. Nope, don't have the floss. So anyway, let's see. Where was I working? There's a dark pink border underneath of these 2 blocks. I know I put that section of it in. I think I finished the border around the birds, I think. One of these two blocks had half of a border, and I finished the border. And then I came down here and I put in the border for this block and then started this block. It has like a leopard or a cheetah or something or other in it, but I didn't have any of the colors for anything except for there's 2 colors here in the foliage or the dirt or whatever it is. So I didn't get a lot, but I probably got close to 200 to 300 stitches, and that'll do for this time around. And this is Lugana, this fabric. It is a Lugana. So if you're interested in this project, you could go hunt up, go be a detective and go to Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery's shop, whether that's a website or an Etsy, and see what the called for fabric is if you really want to know. But I don't have time to do that, and I don't really care. It's Lugana, and I love Lugana. It's my second favorite fabric. Of course, Monaco is my #1 fabric, but especially if it's off the bolt, but that is a rarity to find anymore. I do have a bit in my stash, but it is a rare thing to find off the bolt. All of my black Monaco is off the bolt from an online supplier, but my regular off-white or whatever it's called is diminishing. But that's okay. I'm using Aida a lot too because I do like Aida, but my favorite is the Monaco, then Lugana, and then Aida. And I will stitch on them evenly without prejudice. I love them all, and that's just the way there is. You should stitch on what you like. So then I picked up the Witching Hour. I got hardly any stitches done on this on Sunday at the retreat, but I worked on it. My goal was to try to get the underneath of the letters of the alphabet done. And then I thought, well, okay, the witches are pretty big and the moon is pretty big, but that house has taken me a lot of sessions. The last few times that I worked on this, I've been trying to focus on that house and get it done. And I finally got it done. So my main goal was to finish the house, and all but the chimney smoke over here was done when I came home. And then I worked on it since. So let's show you where I am. So the house is complete, including the chimney. Well, okay, wait. There's like a weather vane thing up here that's 4 stitches and back stitching. I'm not going to do that until the end because there's back stitching. But I did finish the chimneys and the smoke. I filled in the windows, and then these 2 sections, and then this brown section, those 3 like shingles sections were not done. And then I've been working on the tree. I was at the face. He needed his nose and his left arm, and then all of this, including the owl, has been put in this week. My goal was to get the tree done last night, but I was having technical difficulties with something, and I had to stop and take care of that. So I did not get it done, but I only have a couple more branches and a couple of stitches somewhere. Oh, over by the owl, I ran out of floss, and I only have 4 stitches left. So I need a tiny bit of black for that. And then I might have one branch down here. I don't know. They're not symmetrical, so I have no idea. So this is on 28 count Monaco. Almost everything is either Monaco or Aida. That is all of my projects that I worked on. I do have a couple purchases because we did take a field trip on Saturday to go to my local needle workshop, and we had the best time. And then we went to dinner, and they joined us for dinner. It was the best time. I think we were all together for maybe 3.5 hours. It was the greatest time ever. So the first one that I got, and I saw this in the trunk show because the local needle workshop is having a trunk show, which is called Stitch in Time. They are having a Sambry Designs trunk show through the end of June, and I saw this, and I'm like, come on, guys, this has to go in the collection of Bigfoot things. And he's a beekeeper. It's Beekeeper Bigfoot. It's just, it hits best of both worlds, the bees and the Bigfoot, and where I have the Bigfoot and the Yeti from the Plum Street Samplers hanging is right next to the kitchen where all the bee stuff is. So I had to get this. I don't know if I'll order this thing to put it on or if I'll find something else, but that is pretty cool. And she used Aida. It's 18 count old stationery by Seraphim. So she used Aida, and I'm very happy to see designers use Aida because I think sometimes Aida gets a bad rap, And then people that use Aida, not by everyone, but sometimes they feel shamed because they're using that instead of linen or even weave, and you should not. More about that later. Anyways, and then I got this one, and I can talk about this one because my husband did leave to take the dog to the groomers to get his nails done. And I saw this one when it first was released. This released in 2021. And every time I think about it, I'm just like, you should do that for your husband because it's a funny joke. It says, love is in the air. No, wait, that's bacon. And I just think it would be funny because obviously we love each other, but we also love bacon. Both of us love bacon so much. And this is by Meridian Designs. I thought it was Dirty Annie's, and they're like, no, that's Meridian. And I'm like, oh, I don't really know if I've ever heard anyone talk about Meridian Designs, but they do have lovely things. So I got this from my cross stitch shop as well, and so I will stitch that. You know, our anniversary is coming up, but it's at the end of the month. And what's today, the 8th? It's in 21 days. Our anniversary is on the 29th. I don't think that I could get that done by our anniversary. So maybe it'll just be another gag gift for his birthday. Okay. I got 2 pieces of fabric for future designs. And I know that some people would put this in the shop update, but it's kind of purchases. And if I don't end up using it for designs, then it goes in my stash. Oh, shoot. I don't have my receipt. Okay. I do remember what this one is called. This one is called Molly by Grace Notes. So the lighting is not great so far this morning, but there is peachy pink. At least that's what it comes off to my eye. It's peachy pink. And then I'll fold it back in half so you can see it this way. Because sometimes if the light shines through the fabric, you can't see anything. So I hope that you can see that. It's called Molly by Grace Notes Fabric. If you can find some, my local shop has the other parts of this. I think she had a full yard and I took a quarter. A fat quarter, because I think then even if my design is a little bit bigger than some of the other ones that I've made, then it will still fit on there for me to be able to frame it. And I was thinking about using 915, DMC 915 for that design. And there was a stitcher next to me, and I don't know what stitcher was next to me. And I said, okay. And I put the 2 pieces of fabric that I purchased down. And I said, okay, which one for 915? And they said Molly, actually. And that was not what I was expecting. I was expecting for them to like it with this. And, I don't remember. I know it was only a week ago, but we had such a great time and we talked about so many things that there's so many conversations running through my mind from that weekend that I just really don't remember. But of course, if I do end up using this on a design, I will let you know what it's called. It's Aida. That's about all. It's hand dyed. It's Weigart based. But was it Atomic Ranch? Was it Fiber on a Whim? Was it Black Cauldron? Was it Picture This Plus? I don't know. I think it was a newer piece, but I could be wrong. I don't know. So anyways, that is all that I have to share with you for my normal update, my projects, my purchases. Now I'm going to go into shop update, and I totally understand if you don't want to stick around for this. That's why I left it for the end. Sorry, I just went up and down the stairs pretty quickly. So I understand. I know that a lot of people don't like to watch the shop updates because they feel like we're selling to you. And it's kind of, sometimes it can come across as salesy. So I understand that. And I won't fault you for it. And I won't blame you for it. If you feel free to go. But if you would like to stick around, I have 3 projects to show you, along with just kind of giving you status update of the business. And I won't talk about status updates all the time. It's just getting the business up and running. I just want you to know kind of where it's sitting and things like that. So the website, my website is published. All of the information will be below in the description box, so that way, you know, you don't have to try to remember or watch it on the screen. But my website is published, and you will see pictures and details of the designs that I'm about to show you, but that way you can go and read about the designs and see it, and so you can reference back to it. At this time, I don't have an online shop, but I hope to have one soon. In the meantime, my local needle workshop has agreed to stock my charts, so you can call them, and I will put their information down below as well, and it will be listed on the website. It's not on there right now. I need to add that page, but it will be on there later for a listing of shops that stock my charts. If I don't know if I'll have more than one shop stock my charts, but I would hope that other shops pick me up. So if you're not local to me and you have a local shop and you're interested in my charts, you could always give them my information and ask them to contact me and see, and so we can have a discussion. So that's, the website is up and running. As you can see here, the YouTube has been transferred to Cornerstone Stitchery instead of the Harmony Stitches. And Instagram has been as well. So if you want to follow me over there too, I'm going to try to post more often. I just don't really have a good lighting in my living room. So that's one reason why I don't post. And that's usually where I stitch. But I will try to post more often and just give sneak peeks and behind the scenes and of the things that I'm doing. I had a whole list of things on this graphic that I posted for you a couple minutes ago. Should have listed all the things, but I don't remember what they are. But anyways, if things are moving along, I hope, like I said, I hope to one day have an online shop, and then a big dream is maybe to have my own cross stitch, like brick and mortar cross stitch shop someday. If that's what God has for me, then I will continue moving toward that goal if that's what he has for me. So one thing that you can do to partner with me is to pray about those things and pray for me, not necessarily for my success, because if this is from God, then I will be successful in whatever way he deems successful. But just for me to be able to hear him more on this subject. So anyway, okay, so with that in mind, this whole thing is from God. He gave me the ideas, and he gave me guidance on what to do and what to say. And he's kind of been doing that for a long time, just with different things, not necessarily cross stitch designs. Quite a few years ago, I think it was maybe even before the pandemic hit, I had the idea about designing cross stitch patterns for you all. And that was even before I came on here as a YouTuber. And my family, actually, we were at the kitchen table one day, and all of us were brainstorming and throwing out ideas. And there's nothing wrong with those ideas. They're really valid ideas and really cute, fun ideas. But I kind of stalled out on it because I don't think, after a while, I realized that that's not what God wanted me to do. God wanted me to do something different. And finally, I realized that was cross-stitch designs based on him. And that's what we have. And so far, every single one that I have designed, but then future ideas, have a reason behind them. Some of those reasons I don't necessarily know yet, but he's given me the ideas for the chart, so I just have to follow through with those ideas and see where he leads us next. Leads me, but us, because you're here with me on this journey, and I appreciate that. So, like I said in my last video, this whole thing is, my local needle workshop will have a trunk show, and if you come to see them or you see them in person somewhere else, you will notice that the framing is not perfect and the stitching is not perfect. Here in this channel, we do not strive for perfection. We strive for enjoying our hobby and enjoying our finishes. So if that means that you frame it yourself and it's not perfect, then that's what we do. And if it means that your stitches aren't perfect, but you're doing your best, then that means that's where we're at here. We're not at all striving for perfection. Also, I know that my family personally puts ourselves on a budget because we have a game plan, a long-term game plan, and we have to do that in order to see that game plan into fruition. And I'm sure that some of you out there are in the same boat. You have a budget for one reason or the other, and that's your business. And sometimes framing can be pretty pricey. And I would prefer for you to frame your pieces yourself if that means you were able to get them framed and on the wall so you can enjoy them. And if you're not a finisher, if you just enjoy the cross stitching and that's okay too. Because I have heard from several people that they enjoy the stitch, but they don't necessarily care about finishing the pieces and getting them on display, and that's fine. But if your goal is to have them on display, I would rather you do that in any means possible. And if that means doing it yourself, it's doing it yourself. Which I finished other pieces too, not business pieces, and I forgot to show them to you, so I will show them to you next time. So let's get started. Piece number 1 was the piece that got it all started and made me realize that this was what God had for me. And one of my young friends at church loves this Christmas song, Angels We Have Heard on High. And when I heard her story about how much she loves it, and she sang it probably 100 times in a week or something or other, this idea instantly came to my mind exactly this way. I didn't know what was happening. I'm like, why? What, but when I got the frame, all 3 of these pieces, I went to Hobby Lobby and I picked out frames that I had found online thinking, oh, that's nice. Oh, that's nice. I didn't even take my pieces with me. I just went to Hobby Lobby. And then when I got home and I got ready to frame them and I set the frames on top of them just to see kind of what it was going to look like, I almost cried because I couldn't have these projects couldn't have come to better if I had a, it was not me. I'm just saying things worked out. God pointed me in the right direction. So this number 1 piece is called Jubilee, and it is stitched on, I don't know. I'm putting a graphic up here for you that has all the information. I think it's Fog by Picture This Plus. I think it's 16 count. And I use Threadworks floss, and I put that down. I put that in the graphic for you too, but of course it's on the website. And I only used a couple yards for each color. Threadworks comes in 20-yard skeins. They're very affordable, and then you'll have leftover. So for this one, I used the green and the red that most suits my color palette that I like for when using green and red for Christmas decorating, because this will be displayed for Christmas. Now, if you like different colors for Christmas, then use those colors. Whether it's Threadworks or not, use the colors that fit your decorating style. And then that way, if you do use Threadworks, if your favorite colors are purples or blues or pinks, or for a while I decorated in blue and silver for Christmas because to me that's really pretty. You have leftover to do more projects. So I think I only used 4 or 5 yards in each of these colors. And then so I have a bit left over to do more things. Now the conversion, the DMC conversion on this is not exact just because of the variegation. But to me, it translates to $4.98 and $8.90, which is my favorite DMC combo for Christmas. Okay, so the frame did come from Hobby Lobby. I don't have a part number or anything. You just pick because here's the thing. I could give you this part number, but your fabric and your floss that you pick out for your project may not go with this frame. You need to pick a frame that you like. In 16 count, it fits in an 8x10 frame. And the first one that I stitched, because of course I stitched my little friend, the first prototype, was on 14 count. No, I stitched that on 28 count Monaco, which equals 14 count when stitched over 2, and it fit in an 8x10 frame that I got from Amazon. So yes, I know some people really like the part numbers, but the part number isn't going to match how you're stitching it. unless you stitch it exactly like me, but you're going to find it. It's a standard frame from Hobby Lobby. It'll be great. Trust me. Okay, let's set that one aside. That one's really pretty. I've stitched it twice now, and I hope that it's easy, but I hope that I never have to stitch it again. Just because I've done it twice already. The first time I used DMC Etoile C814 or 816, one of those two. I can't remember exactly what color. It's in my stash because I bought extra. That was difficult. I'm just going to say it was a little bit more difficult. So this one actually went faster because it's just regular embroidery floss. Okay, design number 2. I was driving down the road one day and God gave me this idea. And I really didn't know how I was going to make this work, but he made it work. He helped me make it work. And it's funny thing is I actually, the word knit, and you'll see in a minute, knit, I designed it with a different font, and then I sat on it for a month. And when I opened the program again, the software program to finish it, to get started working on it, I think to start stitching it, I'm like, oh, no. So I had to find another font, rechart the word knit, and then get started stitching on it. And I can't be any happier with the way that it turned out. It turned out exactly the way that God gave me the vision for. Does that make sense? Like exactly the way that he put it in my mind. And the other font just wasn't it. So here we are. This is called Knit Me Together. And yes, I am a knitter. You guys know I'm a knitter. And this just, God gave me this idea. And these are cables, knit cables. That's what they represent. I had the heart graphed out, like charted out from forever ago. It was just really big. And I just made it smaller to fit on this project. This is also an 8x10 frame. This is 18 count Aida, but as you can see, there's plenty of room around each side where you could put this on 16 or maybe even 14 count Aida. The dimensions of the finished, stitch design area are on the charts, possibly even on the website. I can't remember all of the information I put on there. So you could check it out because I have a feeling that this also would fit in an 8x10 if you did it on 14 count, if that's what you needed to do, or 28 count over 2. And this is again a standard black frame, nothing fancy from Hobby Lobby. And I really love the way that this turned out. And the story for this one is Psalm 139:13 talks about us being God's handiwork, but more so that he knew us that he knit us together in our mother's womb, is 139 or Psalm 139:13. But if you read, my pastor always says, don't read just the verse, read it in context. So read the verses before and the verses after. And if you do that, you find that God knows us intimately because he designed us in our mother's womb when we were just a tiny ball of cells that didn't mean anything to most anybody. He knew us and he designed us from the very beginning. And there's a comfort to that. So that's what this one is all about. But I thought that it's really cool because as crafters, knitters, crocheters, any crafter, you can relate to taking something and making another something, right? So you take the string, you take the crochet hook, and after a while you have a blanket. But God's handiwork is a little bit different because he made things out of nothing. And so I just think that there's a lot to think about here with that psalm. So okay, so the next one he gave this idea to me in pieces. He gave me the initial the words, and then he expanded it, and then he gave me the color, and then he expanded it. So this one took a while for him to get the message through to me. He probably told me everything right at the beginning, but I probably wasn't catching it. I did actually get a frame for this at Hobby Lobby, but Stitch in Time, my local shop, actually helped me pick fabric. I was going to do it on white, and the frame would have worked. But she said, no, let's try this. And and it worked. So I had to find a new frame. And I came up here in this room, this crazy, messy room that you guys don't get to see anything but this part of. And I was digging around for something and I'm like, oh, look, a frame, an 11 by 14 frame. Oh my gosh. And so everything fell into place with that. So I have a frame set aside for a different project if one comes about, or I can paint it or whatever. But that was not the frame that was intended for this piece. And this is number 3, called Holy, Holy, Holy. And so at first he gave me 3 holies, just 3. And then he told me to stitch 5. And then he told me to stitch in purple. And then he told me to stitch ombre. And so that was really cool the way that it turned out. The fabric actually adds, to me and other people that I've talked to that have seen this, the fabric adds to the artisticness of the piece. Does that make sense? Your piece of fabric, whether you get this color or another color, could do the same thing for you. You might have to change the floss colors, but the reason why I chose purple, or God chose purple, why he told me to stitch it in purple, however you want to say this. Purple represents royalty, and lots of cultures believe that purple is for royalty, and God is our king, and he's royalty, and he's set apart. That's what holy means, is set apart. And so there's kind of a couple of different meanings for this one too. The holy means that he's set apart. He's set apart from us. He's set apart from evil and sin, because he's so much greater than we are. But then also because he's our king, and purple. So this is Orchid by Atomic Ranch, I believe. It took me a couple times to go to the stitch shop and actually get this written down properly, but it's 16 count by Atomic Ranch in the colorway Orchid. As you can see, I have extra fabric on the top and on the side, and that's just the way that this design was supposed to be. But of course, if you don't like it that way, you can change it any way that you want. You could just do that part and make it skinnier, especially if that's the frame that you have, and that way you need less fabric. The floss is only about, I cut my DMC, because this is DMC, 5 colors of DMC. It's listed on the website and on the chart. I think it's 153, 150, no, sorry, 153, 550, 552, 553, and 554. I cut it in 8 equal pieces. So it's just over a yard long, but I use the loop method, so they're folded in half. So they're about 18 to 19, 20 inches long when you fold them in half. Just go with me here. Yes, I understand that the ends can fray, and I don't use the ends, right? So I used, there's something on here. I used 11 strands. So that's about a quarter of a yard, or a quarter of a skein on 16 count Aida. So that will change. Obviously, all of the usages that I put on, floss usages that I put on the charts, are for the fabric that I used in the model stitch. But if you change the fabric size, then you may use more, you may use less. Like this one, if you go down 18 count or 20 count, oh, 20 count would be a dream. Because on 20 count, okay, so I like a very full coverage. But you could also do 1 strand on 20 count and get a good coverage, or if it was 22 count, especially if it was hand dyed, because it does have it usually has a little bit of shrinkage. You could use 1 strand. Well, if you're using 1 strand, you're using half as much as I did. Plus it's not going to use as much anyways because the stitches are smaller. So I'm super excited about all 3 of these designs. I do, like I said, I do have a couple more in the works. Not like, I haven't started charting them yet, but I'm thinking about it. So I do need to get myself in gear and start doing those, so that way I have something to debut to you in a couple months. Because it will take a couple months. It will take me a while to design it, chart it, and then stitch it and frame it. And so it will take a while, but I hope that these 3 will keep you going until then. And hopefully I'll have at least one more to show you later. So I appreciate all of you being here through the end of this video, but also for this journey of mine that I started almost 3.5 years ago. I think I started this channel in January of 2021, and I didn't know how it was going to go. But the community that I have here is really nice. You guys have been following me, some of you since the very beginning, and I appreciate each and every one of you. If you haven't subscribed yet, that's fine. You can do so at any time. You can give me a like, you can give me a share, you can subscribe. And I just appreciate all of you being on this journey with me. And if you have any questions about anything that you've seen, you can check the website, you can check the description box below. I'm not going to put all the details because I did put the graphics in, but you can also email me and ask any questions, and I would be happy. I'm more than happy to talk to you about anything that you've seen today. But I think that's it. I am late. I've been up here with you for a long time. I am late. I've got to get going. But I thank you so much for visiting with me again today and letting me talk about my shop with you. And I hope that you've found something in this video, this very long video, that has inspired you to pick up a languishing whip or maybe to try something new. And until the next time I see you, have a great time. Bye.